Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, My 35M, Girlfriend, 21F, Uncomfortable with My Wife's Ashes. Please tell me if I'm in the wrong here. Married high school sweetheart at age 25. She died in a car accident 5 years later. We loved to travel, and so I had her ashes made into a diamond to take her with me on my adventures. Her ashes along with both of our wedding rings are on a chain I carry in my pocket on my adventures. Helps me feel close to her. I will always love and miss her, but I know she would want me to be happy and find love. I've been dating new girl for over a year. I dated a bit a couple years after wife's death but never found love until new girl, M. M is great and has been so supportive and understanding of my late wife. She knows about the chain and never said it bothered her, though she never knew the stone was my wife's ashes. I used to keep the chain on my bedpost but thought it would be disrespectful to M, so it's now safe in a drawer. I still take it with me on travels. M and I have talked about moving in together when her lease ends in 2 months. I am ecstatic for this. I want to spend my life with her. Yesterday, I was packing for a solo weekend trip to the East Coast as she was over. When I packed the chain, M asked me what the other ring was, not X's or my wedding rings. I explained that I had X's ashes pressed into a stone and she flipped. Couldn't believe I had lied to her for a year and said what I had done was creepy and weird. Gave me an ultimatum: get rid of the stone. I can keep our rings on the chain, just not the ashes, or she will not move in with me. I asked if I could put the stone away in a drawer, but she said no, it had to go. She refuses to spend another night with my wife in the house and said it's her or me. Please help Reddit, I don't know what to do. I don't want to lose this girl, but I also don't want to give up respect for the woman I once loved. My ex was not close to her parents, so I cannot give it to them. I can't just throw it away. I'm at a loss. Cancelled my weekend trip. I just want to make things work with M. Edit. I keep thinking to myself that making this stone was totally crazy. M told me that no girl would ever be comfortable with it and that if I keep the stone I will be living a lonely, miserable life. Women, or men, would this be a deal breaker to you? Am I insane? Update. Whoa, this totally blew up on me. I had no idea my story would get such a response. I was hoping for a comment or two, but this is crazy. This morning I took the time to read what all of you wrote, and I'm hoping that M will settle for a safety deposit box or leaving it at my mom's. She's never had somebody she cares about pass away, and I think the thought of my wife's remains being in my house freaked her out. She's coming over tonight to talk. I will try to update you all soon. Thanks again for all the support and helping me to know that what I did with my wife's remains wasn't that insane. A user in the comments said, first off, you are turning the ashes into a diamond is the most awesome way to carry someone with you. It was a great idea. Don't ever get down on yourself about that. That said, and this is important, don't ever get rid of that stone. Ever. You'll never ever forgive yourself. M needs to man up. It's not you, it's her. Here is where I can relate. My GF's ex's ashes sit in a very small urn on a bookshelf in our living room. He died of a suicide. I'd never ask her to get rid of them. Those ashes are important. My GF does not fawn over them, and in fact honestly probably forgets they are there sometimes. But those ashes are a memory of, and actually physically are a person, someone I never knew, but of a person, nonetheless. And that was my GF's person, not mine. I use past tense here. I think new GF is very afraid of you not being over your wife. And I can get that for sure. But to have the ducking balls to demand that you rid yourself of, what quite frankly is a very touching way to memorialize your wife, is so far out of line I can't even fathom that she said it and meant it. If your GF doubles down on this and says, me or the stone, the answer has to be an immediate, the stone, because this demand sets a terrible and sour precedent for your future together. I'd never forgive her if I were you and she made me give that up. That stone has nothing to do with her and she can duck off about it. I'd stand fast, man. I'd stand so fast. Please don't cave on this. The next one is titled, Update, my 35M, girlfriend, 31F, uncomfortable with my wife's ashes. An update for this who asked. We met up on Saturday. There was a lot of dialogue between us, but I'm going to try to keep it short and paraphrase what we said. I know many of you said to give M time to cool off, but I just couldn't spend my whole weekend knowing she was unhappy. I invited her over for dinner and spent the day cooking her favorite meal. I took the ring over to my mom's house, because I know it being in the house made her uncomfortable, and bought her some flowers. I really wanted to show her that she has no competition, that I love her. When she comes over, the first thing she says is it still in the house? When I assure her it's not, she comes in and sits down. I start by apologizing, explaining that I never meant to lie to her or hurt her, but that I now realize I was lying by omission, and it wasn't fair to her. I apologized again and said I hope she didn't lose all the trust she had in me. I then told her how much I love her. I explained how much she means to me and how easily I could see myself spending my life with her. I go on and on about how happy she makes me, blah blah blah. She likes all this lovey, apologetic talk and is smiling and holding my hand, telling me it's okay and that she loves me too. I then say, it's time to talk about the ring, and she changes right before my eyes. She lets go of my hand, and her happy face is replaced by one of anger. She said something along the lines of, I thought you got rid of it. And I told her that I never said that, I simply said it wasn't currently in the house. She got angry, but I asked her to listen to me before she said anything. I explained that when my wife died I didn't have the heart to bury her and having her remains around felt odd to me, so the ring seemed like the best option. At this point she's crying, with her face in her hands. I ask if she would be okay with me keeping it at my mom's place or in a safety deposit box. She's silent, then cries, why couldn't you just bury her like a normal person? Now I'm crying and I say that I'm sorry, that I respect my wife's memory, but I wish it didn't disrupt our relationship because I love you, M. Anyway, we cried. She said that she wishes the ring didn't bug her as much as it does, but that she's just not sure if she can be with me. She says making your wife a ring isn't what normal people do, and it's making her question about my character. I asked her what she wants me to do with the ring, what her idea of get rid of it is, hoping we could compromise. She said she doesn't know what I should do with it, she just wishes it never existed. She said she loves me, but she's just not sure about the relationship anymore. Told me she needs to think on it. Left without even eating her dinner. Opening parenthesis. I haven't heard from her since. I'm not quite sure what to do or what we are at this point. We have stuff at each other's places, and both have keys. I love this girl, and I don't want to easily give up on us. But I'm hesitant to reach out to her again. I'm thinking of giving it some time and hoping she reaches out to me. I don't know, the thought of losing M breaks my heart. Edit. I want to add that I really don't think this is about being insecure or jealous of my wife. I really think M is freaked out by the fact that I had my wife cremated and turned into a stone. I think even if I had her in an urn, M would still be freaked out. M hasn't had any experience with death, but I think she was raised with the idea that when somebody dies they go into the ground. The fact that my wife isn't buried somewhere freaks her out. The next one is titled, Last night I came home from work to find a framed photo from my wedding hanging on the wall with the chain dangling around it. There was also a 5-page note from M on the coffee table. I'm not going to type the whole note, because a lot of it was very personal to M. However, I will say that there was a lot of apologizing on her part. She told me that she thought a lot about the ring, and even did some Googling, and realized that it's not all that uncommon. She said she was completely embarrassed by her reaction and that she was uncomfortable with the thought of being around anybody's remains. She called herself disrespectful, childish, and pathetic. Sad face. M also said that what I did was a beautiful thing, and shows what a sensitive and loving man I am. That she wants to be with me more than anything and doesn't want to change a thing about our tradition, taking the ring traveling. She told me she now sees that it's a lovely idea and said my wife was lucky to have me and my family. That she as well is lucky to now be a part of my and my family's life. She concluded saying that she felt as though we had a good connection and handled conflict well. She said she hopes that I know her well enough to know that this isn't the way she typically reacts. I do. She also told me she was going to get therapy, as she is worried about what will happen once somebody she knows dies. The last part of her note said that she left a surprise in my fridge, a 6-pack of my favorite beer, and that she'd love to enjoy them with me if I'll have her. She told me to take all the time I need before calling her and that she hopes someday I'll forgive her for her actions. I called her immediately. We talked, and she pretty much repeated what she said in her note. I repeated what I said at dinner, that she is my number one, and that I am so sorry for lying about the ring. We have plans to see each other tomorrow night. I love the photo of me and my wife. I don't have many photos of us, and none that are framed. The chain looks perfect around it, and it's a nice little memorial to have in my home. I love the idea of starting a new home with them, while still having my wife's memory be a part of it. I know this is not what many of you wanted to read. You wanted me to kick M to the curb. However, I think that a year of good actions make up for one bad action. Her apology was genuine, and I really do feel as though this won't happen again. If she tries to control something like this again, and I can't resolve it, I guess I know where to post winking face. I can't thank you all enough. The next one is titled, Iada for being blunt with my wife about why I'm avoiding her family dinners. So, my wife and her family are very close. They have 2 family dinners a week at her parents' house. In attendance are her parents, her brother, her sister, my wife, myself and 4 children, 2 7-year-olds, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, ours. Both of her siblings are single parents, which feeds into this problem a bit. I didn't originally mind these dinners, but because I am my nephew's and niece's favorite person, they have morphed into a situation where I look after and play with all the kids while my wife, her siblings and her parents sit at the table being adults while I have to be a babysitter. I don't mind doing this once a fortnight, but twice a week is too much for me. I've asked them for help, but they mostly just ignore me or tell me they don't want to interrupt our playtime. Because of this, I've decreased my attendance to once every 2 weeks, so 1 out of every 4. This didn't bother my wife in the beginning, but recently she's become quite upset about it and angry every time I say I won't be coming. Apparently while I'm not there, they confine the toddlers to high chairs with tablets to watch Netflix, and the 2 7-year-olds play by themselves, but they've been asking for me to come more. My wife confronted me a couple of days and told me I need to show up more. When I told her I didn't want to, she pushed and said I was in butthole for not coming, so I bluntly told her I was sick of feeling like a babysitter, the older child at the kids' table. I miss out on conversation with their family and feel like I'm being excluded because I'm the only partner there. I feel bad for not playing with my nieces, nephews more, but it's fairly exhausting keeping an eye on 4 kids at once. Respect to all parents with that many kids or more. She didn't take this well and has been angry at me since. So Reddit, am I the butthole? A user in the comments said, NTA. It's telling they mostly seem to notice your absence because the kids are hassling them about it, and yet they can't be bothered to step up to entertain the kids themselves, or get actual paid babysitters, if they really just want this to be adult time. And it's not like they can claim they didn't know it bothered you, because you tried to discuss a more equitable arrangement and they blew you off. If your wife wants you there, then she needs to be willing to demonstrate she wants you there, not ditch you with the little ones so she can go do her own thing. Another user said, NTA. I would have done exactly as you would have. I might have taken a month off first. You need to sit down and talk to your wife. Tell her looking after the kids all by yourself is tiring, and frankly you just don't want to do it anymore, that often. Is it not possible for you to just sit at the adults' table and leave the kids to themselves as they have done without you? The next one is titled, Iada for telling my wife, her mom ruined wife's birthday day party for me? I have been rethinking the events of last night over and over again. Think I can use some honest opinion. Backstory. Me and my wife have been married for almost 7 years now. We dated for 4 years. Just a month before our wedding, Her father passed away. I was abroad during that time, studying. Being a broke student in the middle of the semester, I couldn't be there earlier and support her in person throughout her grieving process. It took a big toll in the first couple of years of our marriage. For some reason events like birthdays has been especially sensitive. But we both put tremendous effort and things have improved a lot over the past 2 to 3 years. We are in a much better place now. Fast forward last month. My mother-in-law came to visit us. We live abroad, for 1 month. She's also trying to cope with her husband passing for a long time. As a result, she's particularly clingy about her daughter, my wife. She also developed some psychological issues such as being in denial and forgetfulness. I fully learned about her issues very recently and I have been trying to be mindful about her issues. This is very new to me, but I have been trying. Main story. My wife's birthday is today. Her mom wanted to celebrate it with a party since she's with us. I have been planning about it too. I wanted to surprise her with couple of her friends. Due to her issues, I didn't mention anything to Mill. Somehow everything went perfect, and my wife had no idea what I was planning. She came from work today and as she went to the room to freshen up, I quickly decorated our dining room and did the final touch. Wife's friends are outside, ready to come in to surprise her. Mill comes out, sees all the decorations. I explained her not to tell my wife. 2 minutes later Mill went to wife and gave her a hint of the surprise party. I was devastated. I planned it for so long and I was able to execute it till the last minute. The party went great, but I felt really sad. All those efforts went to crap in the last 2 minutes. Admittedly I have been quiet throughout the party. Edit. Quick clarification. I wasn't sitting a corner during the party. I fully participated, hosted and engaged all our guests. My wife knows me and that's why she figured something was wrong. Later at night, I was sitting quietly. Wife started asking what was wrong with me. I said I didn't want her to bring this up on her birthday. But she insisted. So, I admitted to her that her mom's action made me upset. I understand she has psychological issues and I understand Mill probably forgot that it's a secret. I'm working toward adopting with it. I'm glad the party went great, and everyone enjoyed it. But I was also looking forward to seeing her reaction. That's why I'm temporarily upset, and I need the night to fix myself. This made my wife extremely upset. She's upset that just like old times there's always something wrong in her birthday and I could have hold off reacting and bringing up the subject. She also spoke about this so loudly that Mill heard it all. Wife is upset that her birthday is ruined. I don't blame Mill and I'm feeling like an awe for admitting to her about my feelings. Maybe I should have waited. Am I the butthole here? A user in the comments said, okay, firstly, NTA. Ideally you'd have waited till a later date to bring up your disappointment if everyone was having a cheery evening, but if you're anything like me and your face says it all, despite trying to remain chill, then there really was no other way that this was going to go down. You've been honest, not rude, and your self-awareness about Mill's situation and how that's affecting your behavior is fantastic. Sure, your wife might think you're putting a bit of a damper on what sounds like a fab time, but your feelings are valid and if she wanted to hear them so badly, then so be it. I would die if someone threw me a surprise party, even if the surprise but didn't go exactly to plan, and I'm sure she's appreciative of the thought and effort, and yeah, sucks that the plan was skippered last minute by someone else, and you can absolutely be upset about that, coming from the world's most frustrated perfectionist. But just try to focus on what you did achieve and letting the other crap go, easier said than done. It's her birthday, she's been a bit me, bringing it up in front of Mill, but you'll look back on this in a few weeks and realize that both of you had no reason to be upset. Another user said, NTA. I'm very surprised with all these YTA votes. You said you didn't want to talk about it on her birthday. Your wife insisted and then she talked loud enough to her mother here. You did nothing wrong. You were upset, but you were living your feelings inside yourself. Your wife ruined her own birthday. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.